and say, well, you talk about when you were a mail clerk. I was in corporate America for 20 years. Black men, if you want to move up into upper management, you are going to have to cut your dreads. You're going to have to become clean cut and represent the brand. See, a lot of Black brothers think this is selling out. No, it's called buying in. Prepare to get your panties in a bunch, because unlike people can ask Steve, I not only been in corporate America and done it, I currently still do it.
What's up, guys? Welcome to 80/20 Sports. I am your host, Alvin Holden, also known as Project 80/20 in these YouTube streets. In today's video, we are going to talk about St. Kevin Samuels for a split second. Now, I know that this is mostly kind of a sports news channel, fitness. You know, as I'm getting my feet wet in the YouTube streets, one of my passions is leadership. And Kevin Samuels left a lot of gems behind. And I've made it my mission to highlight some of those positive things that people should and would be taking with them. And in today's video, Kevin is going to talk to you about his corporate experience, because I think that there's been a lot of questions as to what kind of corporate experience this man really had. I think there's been a lot of weird narratives about how much work he actually did. Or what he actually did, and no one has actually taken the time to listen to his own words to what it is that he did before YouTube. So he kind of hammers through his work experience and essentially what gives him the right to even have an opinion on image in a corporate world as a whole. And he breaks this down here. Now, mind you, this video was from about two and a half years ago. And I'm going to take the link to this video will be in the description and down in the comments. I'm going to sit back and I want you guys to hear from Kevin's mouth what he did as far as work in corporate America and the types of hoops he jumped through, who he worked for, and what exactly he did. That way, there are no questions as to who and what he did. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up. I'm going to let this rock.
And say, well, you talk about when you were a mail clerk. I was in corporate America for 20 years. A chemical engineer with mobile oil for a year and a half when I quit because I hated the industry. Houston East Asset Team, corrosion engineer. Fell backwards into a career with MCI, which was AT&T's largest competitor at the time, and started out telemarketing, inside sales in a call center of 600 plus people, where 60% of the staff was Black, selling long distance from New York to California to businesses, making twice as much money as I was as an engineer. The call center closed down. MCI closed that call center down, and they took the top 5%, which I was in the top 1%, and gave us promotion opportunities. I was relocated to Austin for a call center to help bring them up to speed with selling the same product that we were selling in Houston, because they consolidated call centers. But I caught the eye of a management for my ability to sell, lead, and direct. And they offered me a job in outside sales. I didn't go looking for the job, they offered it to me. My appearance, before I get down the story, I turned it down because one of the guys I moved over there with, he had made a poor impression on all the upper managers there, and they didn't like him. But I liked Daryl so much, I said, you know what? He's married, he's got a family. Give it to him. I'll go to Dallas and take the outside sales job in Dallas. I was set to go to Dallas from Austin to pursue an outside sales, entry-level outside sales job. Now understand, I went from inside sales, making twice as much as I was an engineer, making about $90,000 a year on the phone. But that opportunity closed down. They changed the entire commission structure to go to outside sales, entry level. What I noticed was when I went outside, almost 100% of the outside sales staff was white. Why do you have so many black people on the phone? Black, Hispanic, Asian, other, but when you go outside, the sales staffs are white with a sprinkling of a black person. Wherever I worked, it was usually me and maybe one other person at best. And it was usually a woman. Anyway, I was gonna take the outside sales job at MCI in Dallas. Turns out that Daryl, the guy, my buddy that I gave the job up from, he went to a career fair in Dallas and landed a job as a manager. He got promoted as a manager, and part of what he did to get promoted was said, I can actually bring you an entire sales team. I was the first rep he hired. And from that point on in my career, I went as an outside salesperson for this one company. I've told the story where I almost got fired at this company until I actually made a lot of the changes that a lot of black men on last night's show would refuse to make. I humbled myself, I swallowed my pride, and I learned what it took to win. And guess what? That company I was working for wanted to move me up 3 levels. But the reason I didn't take the job was because they couldn't give me the starting pay. So I went to work for a competitor doing the same thing. And I made 3 times the amount of money. And from there, I went from account executive at the account executive was where I was my first outside sales job. The next company I worked for, my title was a major account manager, which is senior level, which requires about 3 to 5 years experience in the field. Account executives, 0 to 3 years. Entry level. I went from major account manager, and inside of 12 months, I had been promoted to manager. So inside of 3 years, I've been promoted 4 times. I go to New York, take over the 2nd worst team in the nation, make them the 7th best in the country. From that position, I get offered my own city. I take the job and run my own city as a VP. VP of San Francisco. Here's the problem though. I was working on an account that needed my attention. So I was part-time in San Francisco, part-time in New York. The company said, we need you to decide. We can't have you running your own city, but we need you on this $17 million deal with Bloomberg. All right, I will take this job because I really didn't like managing and running the city, such and so forth. So I was promoted to national account manager, the highest sales level any salesperson can get in the sales industry is to be at a national account manager level. National account managers tend to manage one account: Coca-Cola, Delta, American Airlines, Pepsi, McDonald's. There's an entire team that works under the national account manager. He has an engineer, customer service, that basically has his own little company inside of an organization. And it is the national account manager's responsibility to make sure you don't lose that customer, because it represents a huge chunk of profit. These accounts are extremely competitive. You want to hurt a company's bottom line? Steal a national account. National accounts tend to be under long-term contracts, ironclad agreements, because these things can tend to cause seismic shifts. I was the first person to land a national account for a regional Bell operator for a CLEC. So what I'm basically pointing is I know what the hell I'm talking about. When I was an entry-level manager, I hired 16 people, my staff of 7, and I helped hire 9 other people. When I was a national account manager, I had 12 direct reports. I've been a pre-IPO stockholder in companies to where They looked at my sales numbers on a daily basis because they got reported to Wall Street to help us get angel funding and investing. See, what I'm talking about is a lot of stuff that I never hear guys on YouTube talk about. None of the guys calling in last night had any idea this shit was going on. They're all entry-level dudes. So I'm gonna tell you something. I gave you my bona fides because I know what I'm talking about. And now I'm an image consultant and a corporate image consultant, meaning right now I work with companies who have a corporate brand, and that's what sits at the top of anything for a company. Black men, if you want to move up into upper management, you are going to have to cut your dreads. You're going to have to become clean cut and represent the brand. See, a lot of black brothers think this is selling out. No, it's called buying in. Prepare to get your panties in a bunch, because unlike people can ask Steve, I not only have been in corporate America and done it, I currently still do it.
I let that rock because, you know, it's not the first time he's told that story. It's not the first time that he's mentioned that, you know, what he's done in the past. But for some reason that always gets lost. And it's a very powerful message. You know, basically you're gonna have to learn how to play the game. You know, it's unrealistic for you to think that you can rewrite the rules to a game that you don't own, right? That's unrealistic. And essentially, you know, changing your appearance to match the job that you say you want is extremely important. And the idea that you don't have to do those things is silly, and you'll never be successful that way. So anyways, I'm going to take this clip. This is a 2-hour deal here. Honestly, there's tons of gems in here. This is almost a 3-year-old video. But what I will do is I'll put the link to this in the description and down in the comments there. So you should definitely take a look at it. Rest in peace, Godfather. Do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, share. You know, I'm getting my feet set here in these YouTube streets, so things are going to be changing, moving around a little bit. So, you know, do me a favor, hit me up in the comments, tell me things that you liked, things that you didn't like. You know, I'm all about constructive criticism. So Erykah Badu said it best. I'm an artist, I'm sensitive about my shit, and I will catch you guys on the next one.